What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sitting with Sean, episode number 13 with David Shaw. Brought to you, very first episode brought to you by the Antisocial Network. Man, it feels good to say that. It feels good to say that. It's weird. Today we have, like I said, David Shaw. He's a friend of mine that I met through some different podcasting stuff, and I'm stepping foot in some of the other things that I'm not necessarily comfortable doing, but nonetheless, I'm having fun with it. So, David, would you like to give an introduction of yourself?
Yeah, I'm David. I'm 35. I live over the pond, the big blue wet thing, as Fuzzy Bear said in Muppet Treasure Island over in England. Originally from Manchester, greatest city in the world, but now I live further down south near London.
Nice, nice. You know, every time I hear somebody say that they're from Manchester or they lived in Manchester, I always go back to Euro Trip.
Yes.
And with the soccer, the football hooligans and Vinnie Jones cracks me the fuck up every time.
Yeah.
Is that how they really are?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Sean. I can send you a video if you want later on, and you'll see what I am like when Man United are playing. When we score, the passion comes out, the rain pops out my head. The amount of swear words that come out when we've scored, especially if we played a big team that we hate. Oh, I'll be like celebrating and cursing the other team at the same time. I'll be like, oh, that's what you get, you beep, scouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say anything and I'll post it. I do not care. Yeah.
Hey, you have a passion for something, and you have a passion for a lot of different things, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We don't see that in America too often. I mean, we see people like going ape shit over like American football, um, sometimes baseball and basketball, but nothing like that. That's pretty awesome to see. And wrestling. I go ape shit over wrestling.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels a true goat.
Yeah, you like Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, he's a goat for me.
Does it go for you? Nice, nice. Getting into wrestling. We'll talk about wrestling for a few minutes, man. When did you start watching wrestling?
It was early 2000s, and I really got into it. Funnily enough, after 9/11, I was watching it before that in England, but not as much. And I was in my hotel room in Florida, 8:30 in the morning. Turned on the TV like you do when you wake up, and on the news was the 9/11. I ran into the bedroom, woke parents up, saw the second one crash live, and then a couple of days later, I watched the SmackDown taping, and it just being in America when it happened and seeing it firsthand from like how Americans were coping and stuff. It really hit home. Yeah. From then on, I was really more into it. The Rock was my favorite growing up. And then when HBK came in, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know about his past or anything. Because back then you didn't have internet. You couldn't go back and watch it. So and then Rock pretty much left when Shawn Michaels joined. So Shawn Michaels became my favorite then. And as I said, I think he's a GOAT. I think in the ring, out of the ring, on the mic, for me, he beats anybody, including Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, and all that.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I grew up a Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid. I remember like my first memory in life is like Andre and Hogan.
WrestleMania 3.
Yeah, at WrestleMania, and
Yeah,
from from that point forward, it's just like I was a huge wrestling fan, and I had my times where I stepped away from it, but it's ultimately one of those things that I've always come back to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't watch it. I don't watch it as much now. I sort of try and keep up on things. I might watch the Rumble. I'm in work Sunday, so I'm not sure what time. So I may watch it, and I may try and stay away from social media. and maybe watch it Sunday or something. But oh no, hold on. No, I think I might be. No, I think I'm off Sunday. Yeah, I think I'm off Sunday actually. I've literally just worked 9 days, and I had yesterday off and today, so I'm hoping I'm not off Sunday because then I'm only in for 2 days, which doesn't really
Oof.
make sense. But no, if I'm off Sunday, then I might watch because in the Rumble Saturday night.
Saturday night. Yep.
Yeah. So who are you picking for the men's Rumble and the female?
Ooh, the men's rumble. That's I don't know, man. There's a lot of good stuff. I'd love to see Seth Rollins win it, but I don't think he's going to. I'd love to see Cody win it.
Mm,
I think Cody is the odds-on favorite to win, just because he's coming back and everything,
mhm.
from that perspective. But if The Rock comes back, then the Rock has a pitch in it, so
Yeah.
it could be either one of the three. Um, and the women's, I would love I I'd love to see Shayna Baszler win the women's Royal Rumble, just because she's, with her work in NXT, it was great.
Yeah.
And then there was such a promising future for her when she got on the roster
And
and
still
on the main
try.
roster. Yeah, and they just stuck her with Nia Jackson. It's like, well, there you go.
Yeah, I'd be honest. I wouldn't mind seeing Shayna win it, but I think if she was to win it, she would have to face Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Um, for me, I know she's in the title match, but I've got a sneaky feeling Alexa Bliss is going to win the Rumble. I think Bianca Belair will beat her, and then I think Alexa Bliss will enter the Royal Rumble and win it. If not, I keep seeing everyone saying Rhea Ripley, but for me, Rhea Ripley was what Alexa Bliss was last year. She was the hottest female in WWE, and everyone was like, Alexa Bliss is going to win the Rumble, and she never. And I see it so often that they hype somebody up so much that nobody else can win the Rumble, and then the Rumble comes and they never win it. So I don't think Rhea Ripley will win it. As for the men, he's not going to win it, but I'd love the Miz to win it.
yeah, yeah. I'd
For
like to
me,
see him win it.
he's the best heel in WWE of the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
Beating Roman, Seth, The Fiend. He just knows how to piss people off, and for me, that's a true heel. And
yeah.
he's got a hot wife. Yeah,
I think I think he is one of the top heels of the last 15 years. I think Randy Orton, when he was in his heel run, um, early 2010s, he was the hottest thing because he was out there just punting heads off. Didn't
yeah,
even care.
yeah,
Lining up as soon as you seen him in that corner, you're like, it's done.
yeah. Kissing people's wives. But even then, though, you still had the people that could. He was whatever he did, people still loved him. And yes, I do like the Miz, but it's a bit more different because so many liked Randy Orton, where there's hardly anyone that likes the Miz. And so yeah,
Yeah. If I got to meet the Miz, I'd probably shake his hand and be like, dude, you're fucking
yeah,
awesome. I enjoy your work.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll get into it, man. What was it like growing up in England? I mean, obviously, different countries. You're in England. I'm in America. We have different ways about it. What was life like for you as a child?
I moved around a lot in the space of 11 years. My first 11 years, I lived 5 houses in 11 years. I moved from Manchester when I was about 7. So the next 4 years, I was moving house due to parents' job. Uh, so I got bullied a lot because of my accent. It was much stronger back then. Um, and then it sort of made me turn into a bit of a bad guy. I ended up getting kicked out of school in middle school in year 8. The teacher kept taking the piss out of my accent and bullying me for 2 years solid. Uh, Parents went in, spoke, nothing happened, and about 2, 3 weeks before I was supposed to leave for high school, I just grabbed a chair and smacked her with it, and got kicked out of school. So I went to high school, and a pupil took the piss out my accent, and we're talking 2 months. Picked up a chair, smacked her with it, and got booted out instantly because of my previous record. So, and then I had to go over to anger management because I wasn't allowed in school. I had to go over to anger management, and one day was playing pool. Some kid took the piss out of me. I got the pool cue and snapped it straight across the middle of his forehead. Blood poured down the middle, and the weirdest thing happened. They told me I wasn't allowed to go back, and I'm like, "This is anger management. I've lost my temper, and you're kicking me out. So that's not really helping." Yeah, I agree. The safety of other people is a priority, but I mean, somebody you at anger management, they lose a temper first time, and they go, "Well, you're not coming back." So it's a bit shit. So in England, you have year 9, year 10, year 11 at high school. So year 8, no, so year 9, I was there 2 months. Year 10, I wasn't at school, and year 11, I joined in January and had about 5 months. So my high school was probably 7 months, if that.
Mhm.
So it wasn't the best, but as soon as I left school, I just joined. I just started working and been doing it ever since.
Gotcha, gotcha. So I've had interactions with you, but for everybody that doesn't know, you're a massive Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
Massive Star Wars fan. Tell us
yeah.
where that started.
1997 special edition. My dad took me to the cinema to see A New Hope, and I came out and I was hooked. And I've got about 30 Lego sets. I've got pops. Yeah. I've got. I've thinking of buying a few more Lego sets that are coming out. I want to buy the new. I want to buy the R2D2. That's going to cost me about 200 quid. Um,
Woo.
but well, no, the most I've spent on a Lego set is 250, which was Old Trafford, which is the home of the greatest football team in the world, Manchester United. Just
Nice.
it. So yeah, I spent 250 quid on it, and it took me about 12 hours to do.
Oh wow,
Yeah, it's like
wow.
I can't even remember how many pieces it was. I think it's like 5,000 pieces or something off the top of my head. Yeah,
That's insane.
yeah.
That is wild.
I didn't eat or drink all day. I literally just sat there and did my Lego.
You zombied out on Lego. That's awesome. What is it about Star Wars that keeps you coming back and keeps you invested?
It's just it's just like a brilliant series where you can just binge watch, and like once you've watched one, you have to watch the second one and the third one. Whereas other films where there's like one or two or even just one, you watch one and then you're like, oh, what do I watch now? And with Star Wars, once you watch one, you have to watch the next one and then the next one, and then so I mean, on my show. I watched the first three, then I watched 4, 5, 6, and then unfortunately, due to work, I didn't get time to watch 7, 8, 9. But yeah, I could sometimes watch all. In the past, I've like binge watched all through the night, 1 to 6 before 7, 8, 9.
Ooh.
Like I've woke up at like 8 o'clock in the morning and then uh, binge watched all six all through the day, and sometimes I used to sometimes get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and go sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then get up at 8 o'clock. I used to have like 4 hours sleep
Mm,
when I'm not working or anything. So
that's
I
how I
just
am with Marvel.
see. I'm just not a fan of Marvel. For me, the best Marvel films, Guardians of the Galaxy, or I don't even know if it is classed as Marvel. I don't think it is. The original Spider-Man from 2004 with Tobey Maguire. Uh, I
Yes.
think the I think the new Spider-Man is just like he reminds me too much of Anakin Skywalker. He's like a prick,
Yeah.
and I weren't really fond of the one in the middle, Garfield. For me, the Tobey Maguire is the ultimate, and Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. Oh, he can go to hell because I cannot stand that guy. He was just, oh, he's just, he's just like born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and yeah, I just could not stand Iron Man. So I watched the Avengers. I will admit I watched all the Avenger films, and I thought they were crap. I just did not see. I watched them years after they all came out. I think
Mm.
last year I did, and I just was like, "There's what's the hype?" I thought there was too many. I thought there was too many characters, too many stories, and it was just all. It was just like 15 films all bunched into one, and it was just too confusing, and it just didn't make sense in my opinion. They could have done it with less people, in my opinion. But I
Yeah.
know some people liked it, but for me, it just was not for me.
Yeah, I was in the middle of watching Infinity War when you messaged me before we jumped on camera, and looking back now, a few years later, post, the craze of it coming out, there was a lot going on all at one time, and I think that's the issue that these movies have, the big collective movies where you have, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and then Endgame. It's just like all this shit is happening all at one time,
Yeah,
and it's just too much to take in at some points.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's, it's just too confusing in my opinion,
Mm,
and I think they go on too long as well. I don't
yeah,
mind. I don't mind long ass films. I mean, Pearl Harbor, one of my favorites. That's on for at least 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and Green Mile, again another long film, but both amazing films. And I've got no problem with a film being on long, but it has to be decent.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of Green Mile, that's one of the only movies that's made me cry.
Uh-huh. Uh, I've never cried at a movie. So and horror films, apart from maybe going ooh when someone jumps out, I've never been scared of any.
I
I've
I've only been afraid of two, and
mm,
one is because I grew up around the area it was filmed, and that was Blair Witch Project.
all right, yeah,
Yeah, I actually live probably about 15 minutes from the Burkittsville sign that pops up at the beginning, and it says "Welcome to Burkittsville."
decent.
Yeah, yeah, it's creepy driving by there, but it's built up now. So
There's nothing. There's no such thing as ghosts or zombies or um. Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to show me a ghost, fine, but it would just be looking at it'd be just like looking at John Cena. Can't see me. So yeah.
that's that's funny. That's awesome. So moving into your young adult years when you're about 18, and so what was it like then for you?
Well, I suffered from epilepsy since birth, and when I was about 14, my fit started getting really, really bad, and so that limited stuff to what I could do. Um, so I just when I was 17, I joined a supermarket chain and started working weekends, and then I ended up becoming a step up to a team leader, and I was there for about 8 years, and then I walked in one day, and I've just told my manager where to stick the job. I'd had enough. I thought I'd breeze into a job, and unfortunately, I didn't. But yeah, I've done so many jobs over the years. And now I'm in another supermarket as a supervisor. So it's where I want to be. I've done bar work. I've worked in airports. I've worked at football stadiums, etc. So yeah, I think retail. You get the idiots. You get the knobs. But I mean, I I got assaulted, threatened. Um, Disrespected by the same people two shifts last Wednesday and not last Wednesday isn't just gone, but the Wednesday before I think it was, and then a few days ago I think it was. No, it was last Wednesday. Yeah, last Wednesday, and I think it was Tuesday or Monday, and yeah, a bunch of chavvy little kids, pikeys, um, think that they can come in and steal and abuse me. And I've grown up with retail. I've seen people come in, abuse people, and the managers will just stand there and take it. That's not me. Somebody starts insulting me, that's fine. You can take the piss out of my looks. I don't give a fuck.
Hmm.
Um, because I always say that if somebody takes a mick out of somebody's looks, it just means that they're an ugly person themselves. Um, but when they go, oh, I bet your parents are dead and shit like that. That's when I react, and I don't care. One of them said to me, "Oh, I bet your parents are dead," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, but your mother's in jail, isn't she?" And I literally will. I'll give it back, and I'll give it back 10 times more because I don't go to work to be abused. And if somebody comes in and abuses me, then I don't care if you don't care the sex, the age, I'll abuse you back because I have the right to. Not because I'm a job title, but because I have the right, because that is what I say.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it, don't abuse me, because
Yeah.
that's who I am in real life, and I'm never going to change. Somebody abuses me, make sure you make sure you know when to back it up, because I will not back down.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a video a few. I think it was. I think I only watched it about 2 weeks ago. It was a big story in America at the time. I think it's like 2014, and some guy was on the underground or the subway, as you lot call it, subway. We call it we in America, and he was wearing like a jacket from the 90s. I don't know if you've ever seen it, and she was there was a girl, and she was abusing him and stuff, and he was trying to ignore her and stuff, and then she ended up hitting him with a stiletto, and
Mm-hmm.
he ended up turning around and slapping her.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of comments that I saw where, oh, he should have walked away, or he um he shouldn't have hit her, and I'm like, what fucking generation are we living in? I mean, she's assaulted him, and he should just stand there and take it. Fuck off. Equal. They want equal rights. They shouldn't do it. And I don't condone hitting a woman, but I'm sorry, but if somebody was to strike me, don't think that just don't think that because you're a woman or anything, I won't hit you back. If you push me that far and you hit me, be warned, because I could turn around and smack you even harder.
Yeah,
It's just
there's got to be mutual respect, and I see, and that's what I see missing in the world is like a lot of mutual respect, a lot of, you know, not necessarily give respect to get respect, but you have to give a certain level of respect to the people that you interact with, whether
yeah,
it's on a daily basis or just a random passerby. Like, um, if you don't give people respect, you can't expect respect
yeah.
in return.
I
And
was
there,
I was I was brought up, not dragged up,
yeah, yeah.
and a lot of people these days are dragged up. Unfortunately, they have no respect for their elders, and it's just a sad world, unfortunately, that we live in.
I absolutely agree. I agree. What would have happened to you if you acted the way that these kids in this generation act when you were a kid?
I don't think it would have. I don't think it was bad, as bad as it is. I I may have I may have been bullied at school and stuff, and I may have reacted then, but I would never go into a shop and abuse somebody just because I was a kid. And I mean, obviously back then it was it was probably you could probably do something about it back then. Like, I mean, take now, they could come in the shop, put something up the top, and you can't even stop them. Back then, they say 20 years ago, they could like probably stop you from leaving the store. Now we have to let them walk out the door with the stuff up the coat. But no, I honestly think that 20 years ago, I honestly don't think it was as bad as it is now. Um, I just don't think the kids have respect for anybody, and unfortunately, it's the society that we live in.
Yeah,
But you're not gonna change it, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. I have a feeling it's only going to get worse with time,
Yeah,
and that's a sad fact that I see happening. Every generation that steps away from the prior generation, they make it worse for the next generation. It's just it's terrible. I'm not a fan of this new generation of children that are coming along.
no, no, me neither.
Not at all. So before before we recorded, you'd mentioned the loss of a child. What happened there?
Well, 2018, I was still living at home with my parents. I was 31, and if somebody had told me on New Year's Eve for 2018 going into no Christmas Eve 20 New Year's Eve 2017 going into 2018 that a year later, I would have moved out my parents, met somebody, um, had a baby, lost a baby, and be engaged. I would have still got more chance of winning the lottery. Um, I met Kaylee in May, April, May on a uh, dating app. Met her,
Mhm.
met up with her, and in June, I quit my job and moved in with her. August, found out we were pregnant, and then that's when we got engaged. Uh, we we were still waiting for her to get a divorce. Um, but we have to pay £500, unfortunately. So I'm like, I'd rather spend that on Lego. And to be honest, it's actually quite fun sometimes because I'm actually fucking some of a bloke's wife, so it's
Mhm.
sort of a bit of all right. And then, unfortunately, in November, the baby was born asleep. Um, Unfortunately, I blame myself. Or it happened on baby died on the Tuesday, and on the Saturday we were having sex, and we she, her waters broke, but we
Mhm.
didn't know that. We thought she squirted.
Mhm.
We laughed it off, everything like that. Then on the Monday night at 3 o'clock in the morning, she was in pain, so I phoned the doctor, hospital. Oh, come for an appointment. Then one 1:30 we went in, had the appointment, didn't do a scan. They were just checking for the heartbeat. It took them about 40 minutes to find a heartbeat. Found it apparently, and sent us home. And then at half two, I was literally walking out the door, and she shouted me and walked into the bathroom, and the baby was coming out of her, and unfortunately, he was born asleep. And
Mhm.
when we got to the hospital, etc., they noticed because of there was hardly any fluids. They said your waters must have when we said what happened on the Saturday. They said that was when the waters broke, and for me, I blame myself for it. So many people have said I shouldn't blame myself because doctors say that it should be it's acceptable to have sex when you're pregnant,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, if you're in that situation and it happens, and so I do take blame for it. My missus tells me off all the time for it, but I think I'll always take some blame for it. So
Yeah.
it's just one of them things.
How did you handle that situation?
I didn't really grieve because I had to be there for Kaylee. Um, I went to work on the Saturday at the football stadium. I didn't have to. My boss told me I didn't have to go in, but I wanted to get back into a routine, and I also wanted. I thought sitting at home would not do me any good. I started about 12 o'clock, and then 10 to 5. I was going around collecting beer glasses, and all for the first 5 hours I was fine. And then I said to somebody, "Excuse me, is this your pint?" Nobody answered me, so I started taking it. And some knobhead go, "Excuse me, that's my pint there." Really rude. I was like, "Okay, sorry, sir. Here you go." And he started on me, and I just snapped. I pushed him, and then it just went. I went off into a massive rant, and let it all out. Like, oh, my baby died 4 days ago, and I didn't come here to be fucking treated like shit like you, etc. Can't remember the exact words, but we went pretty much like that. And I wouldn't say I was crying, but I was welling up. And then everyone security came in, took them out. I went out back, and luckily I kept my job because of it. But yeah, it was it was all right until the guy was rude, and yeah, um, unfortunately, we've not had any success with um, getting pregnant again because Kaylee has um, I forgot the name of it. No, no, I can't remember what the name is. It's like a women's disease where it's really hard to get pregnant.
Yeah.
And off the top of my head, I cannot think what it is. So unfortunately, we think that was our miracle baby. Um, so, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We've got
Yeah.
each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, I've never experienced or been through that. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, I would never wish it on my worst enemy. It's definitely the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I would never wish it on my worst enemy. And if anybody who's listening, watching, has gone through it, I know what it feels like, and it is shit. But if it's happened to anybody recently, you will get over it. I know I say I still blame myself, but um, I am over it. Apart from the small part where I will blame myself, but it does get better. It does get easier. It may take time, but it does get better. Trust me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So working at the shop now, in retail and what you do now, uh, do you enjoy working retail?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really like working the 9 days straight, but
Yeah,
enjoy being a supervisor. Um, and yeah, it's okay. I'm in charge. I'm still learning a bit because even though I've been in retail most of my life, different shops, different ways of doing things, etc. Um, I'm not. I'm not. I might be a bit different next week because we're losing two managers and we're not replacing them. So it's going to be just me and two other managers in. Um, so it's going to be, we're so short staffed they won't give us any more staff. It's like I think it was today. My manager opened at 6 o'clock, and she had one member of staff till 12 o'clock. And between the two of them, they had to get deliveries out, stock out, serve on the tills, everything between the two of them, and it's just not accept. It's just not possible. It's possible, but you're looking at much longer times to put the deliveries out, etc. So um, I'm not really looking forward to them because unfortunately they just won't give us any more staff, which is stupid.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty stupid. I think there's a shortage of staff everywhere.
Yeah,
I, I
yeah,
know that. I know that. I know I have friends and family members that are scratching and clawing to keep the businesses open that they work for, and it's just like why don't people apply, and it's
mm,
they're not accepting anybody.
yeah, yeah. That is the problem. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it does suck. um so what about it do you enjoy though, working in retail?
I s- it's a bit big headed, but I like the power. I like being in charge. I've always wanted to be the manager, and even when I was like 19, I knew more about the business than quite a lot of the people that were managers. Because my parents grew up doing it. That's why I moved around so much. So I know so much about the business, and even now, I'm below the other two managers, um, and even the store manager that's just left. I knew more about retail than he did, and so it's just nice to be knowledgeable and pass on stuff. But unfortunately, one of the managers is a bit of an idiot. I asked if I could switch my shift with him on Saturday. I do the early, he does the late because my friend got some dart tickets and wanted to take me.
Mhm.
Um, but he wouldn't change it, and then all of a sudden in Messenger he said, "Oh, and don't phone in sick because we'll know why." And I'm like, I'm not a fucking dick.
Yeah,
I'm like, what sort of person is going to ask to change the shift and then phone in sick? And I wouldn't even phone in sick, not asked. I wouldn't have even phoned in sick and not gone in because that's not me. Maybe
yeah.
when I was 18, yes, but not now. Um, so he pissed me off. So I messaged the person who's now not she's not store manager. But she's in charge. But yeah, no, I messaged her and told her I said I didn't appreciate it because he acted like a right twat.
That's one of my favorite words that I hear from everybody. Twat. I love that. I love it. So we're gonna get into some more fun things. First off, not saying that this isn't fun, but more of the things that I'm unaware of. I don't know. I see on the news people talk about, the Queen's passing and how they felt about it, but that's from a massive media perspective. What
Hmm.
is your perspective on her passing?
Honestly, it happened too soon. It happened. It happened too late. I didn't give two shits about it. I was alive, obviously, in '97 when Princess Diana died, and I
Hmm.
still say to the day that I honestly think that the Queen had something to do with it. I think not Prince Charles anymore, but King Charles had something to do with it. So I didn't, it didn't bother me that she died, and I'm not happy that King Charles is in charge now. Um, Me personally, I was hoping he'd pass it over and give it to William because I
Hmm.
think William's a nice guy. I think he's definitely his mother's son. Plus, Kate is great. I think she'd be make a great queen. She's good looking as well, which is a bonus.
Yeah,
But yeah, for me, I honestly think that Queen Elizabeth II had something to do with the murder of Princess Diana, and I think Charles did as well. Um,
I, I think so as well. I
yeah,
agree. There's so much. There's so many coincidences that happened right up leading to her passing or her death. That was like,
even afterwards,
yeah,
because when a royal dies, the flag at Buckingham Palace goes half mast, and I think it took them 2 or 3 days to actually put it at half mast, and I'm
wow,
like, that's a bit suspicious.
wow,
Mhm.
that's insane.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
yeah.
I did get to go to Buckingham Palace, and that was pretty cool. I got to go jump with the British Air Force and or the Royal Air Force. That was pretty awesome.
Where were you
And
based?
Colchester,
Oh, not far from me then.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was stationed at Fort Bragg with the 82nd Airborne, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go do jump with the British." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Are they coming here?" They're like, "No, we're going there." It's like, "Fuck yeah!" I get to spend a week in England, once
Decent.
in a lifetime.
So you were pretty much Ben Affleck in Pearl Harbor.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah,
Apart from the going to orbit
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and and crashing into the English Channel.
yeah. And I didn't get to fly a plane. I just got to jump out of them shits.
Oh yeah. Mm, yeah.
But yeah, it was a really cool experience. I got to go hang out at over there and then at Oxfordshire. That was cool.
Mm,
I didn't realize like how prevalent Harry Potter was. I thought it was just a movie in a book, right, or a book series,
yeah.
and it's actually real.
Mm,
Like, well, not real per se, but people, the pupils walk around in the long trench coats and stuff like
yeah.
that, and I was like, man, that's pretty awesome. That's cool.
Mm,
It's a different lifestyle that I'm used to.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I was in London, the only thing I didn't get to do that I really wanted to do was go on the Jack the Ripper tour.
Oh yeah. I want to do that, but yeah, it's really really good. Um, I'd love to do it, but maybe I mean I only live about 40 minutes on the train, so I might do it in the future. But yeah, I've done so much in London. It's a day trip to me. I can wake up and go, you know what, I'm going to London today. So yeah, I've done so much in London, London Eye, dungeons, everything. To be honest, but yeah, I'd love to do that. The Jack the Ripper tour.
Yeah, I find Jack the Ripper like really intriguing because nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, and I think he was misunderstood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you heard the theory that Jack the Ripper is also H. Holmes?
No, no,
Oh, you know who H. Holmes is, right?
no, not off the top of my head.
Okay, H. Holmes was America's first serial killer.
Ah, right.
He was a surgeon, um, and when they were doing the World Conference, I think it was called the World Conference, but it was a big convention or the World Convention in Chicago. He built a hotel, and then people would come into the hotel and they would go missing.
Mm,
And there's a lot of paperwork that was transferred back and forth between him and ex-wives, and the paper trail ended shortly before the Ripper murders started, and then um, and then they found his name on a bunch of manifests on boats going to England
Mhm.
at right before the Ripper murders happened, and then after they were done, his name popped back up in America.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a weird theory. They just haven't been able to prove it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Um, who is your favorite British actor and why?
Ooh, probably Roger Moore.
Yeah,
Yeah, for me, he's the best James Bond.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'd probably go Roger Moore. There's there's a few others, but as a Bond fanatic, um, I'd have to say Roger Moore. Um, Up to date one, I'd probably say Jason Statham.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Jason Statham and Tom Hardy are my two favorite British actors.
yeah, and Amelia Clark
Yeah.
is my probably my probably my favorite female actress just because she's so hot. And the films that she's in. I mean, Me Before You. It's a really great film. It's if you've never seen it, it depends if you like a rom com, but it's such a great film. And then she starred in Last Christmas, and that
Hmm.
was another great film. And yeah, I'd bang her so much. So
and she was in Game of Thrones.
yeah, no, but in Game of Thrones, I don't think she was as good looking as she is now.
Okay.
And to be honest, when I watched Game of Thrones, I will be honest, I thought Game of Thrones was shit. I thought it was a bit like Marvel, too many
Yeah.
stories. And I
Hmm.
watched the first series, and I only carried on watching it because of the Dragon Lady. And at that point, I didn't even know who Amelia Clark was because that was probably one of the first um, like into film and stuff, movies.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I didn't really know who it was, but yeah, I only carried on watching it for that, and then I watched maybe one or two episodes of series two, and I was like, I'm, it's not good enough. I can see naked women on the internet for free, so I'm going to give up because I just did not like it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I got pulled into it and I got sucked right into that world of Game of Thrones, and I was like, I binge watched everything up until about season 5, and then got to the 8th season, and I was like, man, fuck this. This show sucks.
yeah,
Because the very last episode.
because isn't the guy that fucks Amelia Clark? Isn't that Aquaman?
No, no, no. So that's Kit Harrington.
All right.
Uh, yeah, Kit Harrington, and then Jason Momoa is
Yeah,
Aquaman. Yeah,
they do look the same.
yeah, they do.
Off the top of my head, like I can, because I'm trying to picture and yeah, I see him like really tall with beard and stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was Jason Momoa. I just couldn't think of his
Yeah,
name.
actually, Jason Momoa is supposed to be playing Lobo,
All right.
and yeah, very soon. So I don't know if it's gonna happen, but he's been there's been a lot of speculation around him being Lobo um, in the near future. But yeah, so what are your plans for the future, my man?
Got holiday booked for June. Off to Blackpool, which is a seaside resort up in the northwest. Got the greatest tower in the world. Some people could say it's the Eiffel Tower, but no, it's Blackpool Tower. And just go there and chill for the week. Other than that, I've not really got any plans. Just save up as much money as possible for my holiday and my Lego collection, um, because I need money for my Lego collection.
Need money for your Lego collection? Hell yeah, man!
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. All right, so before we go, man, before we go, uh, tell us where we can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Moving Magic, which Sean's been on. You can find me on Sports Capital, where I do lots of things for darts or football. Today I interviewed a professional dart player. You can also find me on Instagram at David underscore red underscore devil. Also, you can find me on Facebook, just David Shaw. Yeah. But yeah, no, you can find me on other movie podcasts as well. I'm also just joined Antisocial Network as well. So my next show, which will be tomorrow night, um, I'm going to speak to Antisocial Network to see if I can have like the symbol and stuff. But yeah, it should be the first one on the Antisocial Network as well tomorrow. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Anti-social network has gotten big.
Mm,
Like no joke. It was just a handful of podcasters, and then Rob was like, "I want you," and then
mm,
I've just seen an influx of people coming in. It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Jeremy put in a good word for me. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. All right, brother. So before we go, I just want to say I started a Patreon, guys. If you want to support the channel, cool. If you don't, hey, that's all right too. It just it helps me out and it helps out other people as well, and helps out with like getting some of this stuff and yeah, microphones and shit. Uh, but yeah, if you want to go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon, it's patreon.com / sitting with Sean. And everybody, you guys have different tiers, and the different tiers will get you different things and more access to me as I am. So I want to thank you, David, for coming on and being a guest. It was very impromptu. This was impromptu. Yesterday, I was sitting and I was like waiting for somebody to come on that never did. And David's like, I'll come on the show. I was like, fuck yeah, man, let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
No. Cool. I don't mind. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So, David, once again, thank you for hanging out with me and just and being authentically you, man.
That's you'll always get the true me. I won't shy away from anything, and I'll always say what I want. Doesn't matter what if it upsets people. It's me, my opinions or my views, and if people don't like them, well, that's their problem, not mine. People have always said to me I should think before I talk. I don't do that. I always say if you think before. I always say if you think before you talk, you don't say what you want to say. So why think
Very
before you
true.
talk? Just talk. If it upsets
Absolutely.
if it upsets somebody, tough shit. Stop
Yeah.
being a
You're
snowflake.
you're not responsible for the way other people take things.
Exactly. It's not my fault that people are arseholes and can't don't like my views.
Very true. All right, David. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. Thanks for chilling with me, and everybody. Thank you for watching this episode, and thank you for all the love and support that you guys show me and show all my guests. So, till next time, much love.